but for you guys, I really want to just share some ways that I've been coping with the politics that have been happening and the potential outcome of the upcoming election. So, back to Beyond Dawn. So, as we are all probably well aware of, it has been a crazy couple of weeks with only a couple more days to go until the election. I think everyone is pretty much freaking out or has been extremely stressed over the last month. I personally have been having a more challenging time with my depression and anxiety. I haven't been posting or paying as much dedication as I should to you guys because of this. And so I just kind of want to go off with this week on how to survive the election no matter what happens, because I know we are all stressed out. The last couple of weeks for me have been pretty crazy. I was actually supposed to go to Hawaii this week, but it didn't work out because they require certain testing for COVID, and I did get tested. It came out negative, but I did not go to the right place that they accept, and so I had to cancel my trip, which is okay. I made the best of it. I really did some reflecting this week. I did things that I really wanted to do, like go to the beach, explore San Diego, kind of things that I don't usually do because I live here and I'm like, oh yeah, I can do this any other time. So I've just put it on the back burner. Yesterday I went flying with my husband because I wanted to get over some anxiety that I have. I'm going to post another video about me getting over my fear of flying, I guess you could say. He did some crazy things which aren't really crazy for pilots apparently, but for me, I was super scared. I was super stressed out. I came home immediately yesterday and just passed out. I was done. My anxiety was at its threshold. So without further ado, I can, I guess, skim over the top as to why people in the United States have been stressed out. I mean, it's pretty obvious. If you don't live here, you've probably already heard of the huge divide that we have going on right now between Trump and Biden and all the things that have been happening in 2020. COVID is a global collective anxiety that I think everyone has been dealing with. And then in America right now, we've been dealing with racial divide and civil unrest and just a lot of other important historical pinpoints that are happening this year and that are really crucial as to what is going to lay the foundation for our future in the United States. And there's definitely a lot of things that have come to the surface, at least from outside of the United States. I think we've always been kind of like the joke in the world because it's just, I think over this couple centuries, it's been coming to light as to what kind of country the United States really is. Not complaining in the situation that I am in. I really recognize that I'm privileged to live in the United States, but at the same time, we have a lot of issues. We have a lot of racial issues. We have a lot of issues when it comes to catering to the white majority. It has a lot to do with our healthcare system here. I mean, I can just keep going on and on with the issues. I personally feel that Trump symbolizes. And so I just really want to share some of the tips that I am using to cope with the election. I personally have been getting pretty upheated about it because, again, like I just stated, Trump to me supports or represents a lot of the issues in this country, and not only for racism, he has a lot to do with the way we view sexual assault. And yeah, I just keep going on and on and on and just talk to you guys about what my opinion about the political views are. But really, again, the point of this video is to share the tips of how I've been coping with it, and maybe just taking a step back and looking at how this election or the politics are really influencing your mental health. Okay, so number one on this list of tips that I have is to be mindful And I think we all probably are well aware that being mindful during a mental illness crisis or just maintaining our mental health is really important. But a lot of us don't really realize what mindfulness really means. And essentially, being mindful just is being a state of mind where you're aware of the present, you're aware of the emotions that you're feeling, and you're aware of the physical emotions or physical feelings that you have. And you're kind of just allowing yourself to feel these things without any judgment. How do you become a mindful individual? How do you practice mindfulness? Takes some practice, I will be honest. It can be challenging to really get into the mindful state that you really want to be in whenever you are having anxiety or depression. But some ways that I really get into it is by practicing deep breathing, just really paying attention to the physical aspects of my body. And so deep breathing really helps that. When you breathe in, you focus on the breath, and when you breathe out, you're also focusing on the breath. And so then you get into the sense of uniformity of your body and your mind, and it really does help. And another aspect of being mindful is really practicing. I know I mentioned that it can be challenging at some times to be mindful, but it is something that you really need to allot some time per day in order to really get it down. It's taken me a while to get in the mindset, and now it just really comes naturally for me. Whenever I'm feeling anxious or depressed, I really use this as my go-to, as a realization that the feelings that I'm feeling in the moment, whether it is emotional or physical, are natural, and that I am able to embrace them, allow them to come, and then have empathy or have no judgment on the way I'm feeling. And it just makes it easier. It's kind of like with an anxiety attack or a panic attack. If you've ever experienced one and you've talked to your doctor about it, your doctor will probably tell you that you should not fight your anxiety because your body is trying to feel this way. It needs to feel this way, and it will pass eventually. And so that's really tapping into your mindfulness. Now, I will admit also, we really don't want to feel negative emotions. And so it can be really discomfortable or uncomfortable whenever you're starting out a mindful practice, because we tend to run away from negative emotions or negative feelings. But I promise you, the more that you practice it, the more you do it on a daily basis, the more it helps. And it really allows you to maybe not just disregard the feelings that you're feeling, such as anxiety or depression, but just allowing them to come, because quite frankly, every emotion that we have is not bad. It is necessary, even if it is uncomfortable. So I highly recommend that you try mindfulness. I actually start off with mindful apps, and two of the ones that I really use is Headspace and Metatopia. Two are my favorite ones. They have really great playlists on there if you want to just have a quiet moment, or they have guided meditations, or they just have playlists that help you sleep. So I highly recommend trying these apps if you really just want something that will guide you into that moment of mindfulness. Number two on this list is getting your move on. And so when you look at the fight or flight response, aka anxiety, you can understand why doing some cardio or working out or just getting out of the house and moving really helps. Because if you look at our natural response whenever we have anxiety, it's either to fight what our threat is or run whatever from our threat is. And so that's essentially what anxiety is. I've actually done another video explaining more about anxiety and the fight and flight response. I have a playlist. I will actually link it above so that you can see it if you want to. But essentially, this is something that my doctors really recommend, and I think a lot of medical professionals will recommend that if you're feeling anxious, do at least 40 minutes of cardio or something that gets your blood pumping for 40 minutes. This will allow your body to release a lot of the pent up anxiety, stress, or even depression. It can help a lot. I know when I'm feeling sad, uh, exercising is just the thing that I need. And this is something that's particularly useful, especially after having a heated conversation about politics, or if you're sitting and wondering or worrying about the potential outcome of this election. Nothing is better than just going out, getting out of your space, running and releasing a lot of that pent up energy or adrenaline that you might have from what's going on in the world right now. So, number three is probably pretty obvious. Turning off social media or the news is a great way to just rebalance yourself and reconnecting or regrounding ourselves with the people who really matter. It's really important that when we're feeling anxious or depressed or having any of these other emotions that are linked to the political status right now, that we remind ourselves that we have a safety net to fall back on, and that really what matters are the people that love us, and it can be friends or family that we fall back on, and really just have this community. Everyone thrives on community, and I know it can be really, really challenging to turn off, especially whenever you're in a heated discussion online about politics or watching the news and you just get emotionally invested in what's going on. It can be really hard to turn off, but what ends up happening when we don't take that break is that we are emotionally getting burnt out and we're not productive anyhow. So I know personally myself, I get really invested emotionally in something online and I just feel like I need to keep going and talking about what I'm passionate about. But in reality, there's not much I can do efficiently that is helping anyone or benefiting myself if I'm emotionally burnt out. So whenever I take a break and fully turn off, no talking politics with your family or friends, no checking social media about it or the news, it really recharges my batteries emotionally and I am able to come back fuller, stronger, and just a lot more clear-headed or level-headed when I need to be present in a political discussion, I guess you could say. I want to say debate or argument, but I want to say discussion because that's just a lot more level-headed. So I hope these tips really help you. They help me kind of mitigate or navigate my anxiety and depression, and I hope that they help you mitigate any stress that you're feeling during this political season or just 2020 in general. I would love to hear what you guys are doing for your mental health or what helps you in the comment section below. If you find this video something that you are interested in or that you liked, please like it. And if you would like to stay up to date with more of my content, please subscribe to my channel. I will see you guys later. Bye. Oh, and happy election. It will be fine. Bye!